Hello everyone, welcome to One Connected Love. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Christina.
And we are true twin flames in union. So today we're here to bring everyone a very important topic, which is what does it mean to love yourself and your twin flame unconditionally? Good. So I think we can go ahead and start and just first talk about what unconditional love is not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's important because that term gets thrown around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like, in society evolved to mean things that's not actually unconditional love.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, on your twin flame journey, it's easy to get, very emotional over your twin flame and maybe to allow certain types of behaviors, such as like your own mistreatment for the sake of love, right? But loving yourself unconditionally does not mean allowing yourself to be a doormat, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't mean like allowing yourself to feel like you're being taken from or mistreated or anything like that. And obviously those sorts of behaviors are not unconditional love, but what we mean is that it's not okay to basically allow any sort of behavior for the sake of love that leaves you feeling like you got the short end of the stick.
Yeah. And so I think, this term unconditional love, there's like a misunderstanding there that it means like giving someone all of you, even when they're not like choosing to demonstrate that they're willing to love you.
Right.
Yeah. And unconditional love, like really the core of it is like respecting somebody's choices, right? Like that's in Twin Flames Finding Your Ultimate Lover, right. That you have to respect your twin flames choices. And so part of really like loving them unconditionally is loving yourself unconditionally, right? Because you're demonstrating how you want to be loved.
Right.
And so, like it's really not like any situation where you have to really like take from yourself or betray yourself in order to maintain a certain dynamic with your twin flame. That's not unconditional love, because unconditional love like honors both parties, right? When there's really unconditional love there, both parties are properly honored.
Right. And in unconditionally loving relationship, there is balance, there's harmony, and everyone wins, right? It's something that is mutually beneficial. And like Christina said, this starts with yourself first, right? As we all know, the twin flame journey is an inward journey first, and it's a relationship with ourselves before anything else, right? It's a relationship with ourselves and a relationship with God. Good. So I feel like that pretty much covers that first topic, and now we can go into some examples of what unconditionally loving yourself really is.
I think we're getting to like a core piece here, which is that unconditionally loving your twin flame means unconditionally loving yourself.
Yes.
Right? Like it's one and the same. And so, you never want to be shifting the balance to like you are taken from, but your twin flame gets more. That actually is not unconditionally loving to either party, because if you tip the balance more towards your twin flame and you take from yourself to give to them, you're establishing like an unhealthy dynamic that can't be sustained.
Right, and you're actually creating imbalance.
Exactly.
Right, and that will be reflected in your union. Okay, good. So let's go on to some examples of what unconditional love for yourself may look like. Yeah. So the first one is loving yourself without judgment or condition. So during, on the path to the twin flame journey, through the twin flame journey, I should say, a lot of emotions come up. You experience a lot of transition, a lot of change. You change a lot, right? It's a change in your consciousness itself. And through this, you may experience thoughts or feelings or experiences that may on some level scare you, or make you feel certain ways about yourself, like am I okay? Am I crazy for experiencing this? Is this really happening? Am I a bad person? This, that, right? And unconditional love is giving yourself the opportunity to just be, and to be loved no matter what arises, no matter what thoughts or feelings arise, loving yourself through it all.
Yeah, like, your twin flame is your divine mirror, right? And so I think where a lot of, it's really common to get tripped up is your twin flame's going to show you things maybe that you don't like.
Right. And
the only way you can move through them is if you let go of judgment of what that might mean about you, right? Like, I think there's a lot of places where people are very afraid to, like, really face, like, an upset head on because they're afraid of what it might mean about them. And it doesn't, like, you're just moving through an energy.
Right.
Like, it doesn't mean that you're, like, a bad person or that you're bad. You're moving through a misalignment, and it's only in choosing to face that fully that you're going to actually transcend it.
Right, exactly. Giving yourself the opportunity to explore the possibility of these, feelings or thoughts being true, that these are just patterns that you have that need to be worked through, and it's really just a hurt part of you that needs love. By allowing that to happen, you allow yourself to clear out these old patterns or these bad feelings, and that's actually all that your heart is looking for, is to be loved unconditionally no matter what arises.
Yeah, so much of the time, like, your heart is asking to be heard.
Yes, a lot.
So much of the time, like, this part of you that's hurt is just asking to be heard, right? Much like you would listen to, like, a best friend. And like, if you're holding on to judgment for what you think these feelings might mean, you're not really letting that part of you fully express themselves.
Right, good. So we'll move on to the next point, and the next point is honoring your limits and setting boundaries with your twin flame. So one thing that you said earlier that I thought was really good was when you were talking about loving your twin flame, loving them unconditionally, and what that could mean is loving your twin flame in the way that they need to be loved in that moment.
Right.
So, and that could include setting boundaries. Setting boundaries with your twin flame or setting boundaries with yourself really is a very loving thing. Because if there is a pattern or something that has been occurring within your consciousness for who knows how long, the best thing that you can do is set a boundary, give yourself space and time to heal, so that you can release that pattern. In that way, the boundary is the most loving thing that you can do for yourself to allow yourself to move through what you need to so you can heal.
Right. Like, the teachings of union basically, like, it teaches you about, like, aligning to love, right? And that the purpose of a boundary is really to align with love, right? Like, it's loving. It's not like blocking out energy. It's respecting what is actually loving.
Right. Exactly. So an example of this can look like, that's a great example. An example can look like, you set a boundary with your twin flame. That doesn't mean you're blocking them out. It doesn't mean you're shutting them out. It doesn't mean that you're trying to control or manipulate them with the boundary. It just means that you're saying, hey, you know what? I recognize this ugly pattern, and I won't allow it to proceed because I deserve love in this space. And I'm doing this for me to love myself.
Yeah. Like in Twin Flame Ascension School, there's so many examples of like students learning to, hold down the appropriate vibration for their union, or the vibration that's in alignment with love. And as they do that, their twin flame, like you and your twin flame, will make the same core choices. Your twin flame will begin to, like, feel really uncomfortable with that misaligned choice, right? Because the choice in alignment with love wins.
Right.
Yeah.
And as you set a boundary and not allow patterns or things to continue, your union can actually relax. Because it means that no energy is being fed into those patterns anymore.
Yeah.
And all your energy is just being put on love and healing.
Right.
At that point.
Yeah.
Good. So the next point we want to mention is honoring your innocence. Yeah. So what would you say some good examples of honoring your innocence would be?
Yeah, well, I think this is actually kind of builds off of that loving yourself without judgment.
Yes.
It's recognizing your divinity, which is that, like, you were created perfect by God, by source, the universe, right? Like your intention is always, like, on some level, even if it's like very misaligned, your intention is always like love at the core, right? Because that's what you were created to do, is to love. And so honoring your innocence to me means respecting your learning process. And like not judging yourself and like thinking that you're bad because this happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You have to remember that you are an infinite being having an experience. You're having a 3D experience, if you want to say that, or you're experiencing separation from love in your consciousness. And you just have to remember that you're learning and a lot of these things may be new. Your feelings are valid, your experiences are valid, and it's okay to move through them from a place of innocence and without any sort of judgment on yourself. And by doing that, that's one of the most loving things you can give to yourself. Good. So the next point we'll move on to is being open to change and being open to loving yourself through it.
Yeah, I feel this is like the same kind of energy of loving without judgment.
Yeah.
Is a lot of times people will hold on to like the old way of doing something because like it's uncomfortable to admit that maybe you were making a misaligned choice.
Right.
And this is about like, well, Jeff and Shaleia always say, like, do you want to be happy or do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and like, yeah, it's really about being open to a new perspective, being open to a new way of doing something that will actually bring you relief.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in line with that is like the saying that Jeff and Shaleia say is like there's a difference between what's good and what's pleasant. And something may seem pleasant for you, but it may, like a pattern that's occurring may seem pleasant, but may actually not be good for you. And what's good for you may feel uncomfortable at first, but it's actually what's best for you and the most loving thing for you. And the only way you'll really know what that is to allow yourself to explore and change what you know.
Yeah, the only way you'll really really truly understand the difference between the two is if you're willing to have an open mind about it.
Yep.
Right? You can't be doing something because someone else said to. You have to be choosing it.
Yep.
Yep.
Good. And the last point that we have here, which is very important, is showing up for yourself. Like Christina said earlier, is like all your heart a majority of the time wants to do is like be heard and be like respected and honored. And showing up for yourself is exactly that. It's going the extra mile for yourself and showing up for yourself where you need it most.
Yeah, it's basically honoring your promises to yourself. And I feel like this is a space where having compassion for yourself is important. Like, you might not do it perfectly, Yeah. It might take a lot of effort for you to even do that once, and that's okay. That's honoring yourself where you're at and following through on it that one time as you build a foundation of, like, choosing to do that. Like, that's moving the needle in the right direction. Just
having a whole lot of compassion for yourself as you move through something. Trusting the process and moving at a comfortable pace with compassion is extremely loving to yourself, and it actually creates the most efficient method of healing, I would say. Yeah. Good. So I feel like that pretty much sums it up. Do you have anything else?
No, that feels complete to me.
Okay, good. Well, we hope you enjoyed this video, and we hope that you have a better understanding of what it means to truly love yourself unconditionally and your twin flame as well. If you liked this content, feel free to like and subscribe to our videos. And if you have any, requests and you'd like to see any videos in the future, let us know in the comments. We're happy to make some videos. Once again, we are Daniel and Christina, and we are Ascension coaches. We do private twin flame coaching. We also have some group coaching classes. If you're interested in seeing our services, check out our website, oneconnectedlove.com. And as always, we'll see you next time. Take care.